Okay, let's eat breakfast. So what we're gonna have, I'm gonna try the peppermint bark minty chocolate herb tea. See how that tastes. And so I started my day with a prayer. I drank 50 ounces of water so far. I've only walked 3,580 steps. I'm gonna have to start walking around the house. My quote is, never let a stumble in the road lead to the end of the journey. I had quite the stumble this past weekend. So I have a 0-point breakfast, eggs, berries, banana, grapefruit tea, and water. So I still have my 26 points left for the day. That look good? Okay, it's time for dinner. Doesn't that look healthy? Jim's jealous. Because all Jim's having is mustacholi. With maybe some cookies for dessert. And some homemade bread. And I'm having a healthy dinner. So I'm having... it's pasta visual soup. Told you we didn't know what it was, but it's pasta visual for 5 points. 2 points for my 2 tablespoons of spinach artichoke dip. 1 point for my tablespoon of Miracle Whip. 2 points for my Smart Wrap, and 0 for the tuna, the celery, the peppers, the cucumber, the tomatoes, my tea and water. So it's an 8-point dinner. I have 18 points left. Jim is jealous. Well, I'm pretty proud of myself. What was this? 2 actual days in a row, Wednesday and Thursday, this is a Wednesday, this is a Thursday, this is a Friday, and this is, yay, Saturday when I get weighed. I do know I'm going to have a gain. If you could have just seen how bad I ate. It was just, but you know what? I'm back on track. And I wanted to thank Sue M. She doesn't have a last name. She just went by Sue M. And she pointed out that 2 tablespoons is a shot glass. And that's what she uses. So that's pretty good. You know, I have a shot glass. I'm sure everybody has a shot glass. But that's pretty nice, you know, if you don't want to drag out the tablespoons. A lot of times when you put something in a tablespoon, I find that it sticks, and I always think that you're losing some of it that's still sticking. Sign of a fat person, always worried about that little bit you're not getting. So, but if you put it in the shot glass, then you can get it out. You really can. But, and then Cheryl Martin wanted to know if I had my knees replaced. Yes, I've had both my knees replaced. I had my first knee done. I had my right knee done in 2007. And my at Christmas time, and I had my left knee done the following Thanksgiving. The things I did different was I was just working I wasn't really working part-time. I was working a full-time schedule, but I was considered part-time due to the fact that the company I was working with, it was just like a lot of rigmarole or whatever. But I wasn't considered full-time because you had to work 37.5 hours to get full-time, and they scheduled me for 36. So obviously I never got full-time, so I didn't get paid while I was off. So I had my surgery done on December 18th of 2007, and I was back to work on January 15th. I went back right away. It was right around the 15th. I was off only 4 weeks, and the reason I bounced back so quickly was the fact that when I went to do it, when they gave me the injection to numb my leg up, you know, they poke you with the needle just to make sure, and I kept saying, I can feel that. I can keep feeling that. Well, they kept giving me more and more, and I kept saying, I can feel it. I can still feel it. And come to realize that they were numbing my left leg, and I was getting my right leg done. So when I went back to the room, I was so knocked out from all the anesthetic that they gave me that there's a machine that you have to go in that makes your legs stretch back and forth like that. They just left it on me the whole night, and so my leg was constantly moving. And in the morning, my doctor, you didn't get to eat unless you got dressed. You had to get out of the bed and get dressed. I'm not going to miss a meal. I'm going to get out of that bed and get dressed. And so the nurse came down and she said that you know, the physical therapy will be at, you know, like in an hour or whatever. And I says, okay. And then she said, you know, it's just down the hall, but don't worry about it. And I said, okay. And then I walked there with my walker and got there. And she says, well, how did you get here? Who brought you? I says, I walked myself. She says, well, that doesn't happen. And I go, well, it happened. I did it. So the following year, I made a point of cheating the system. So I got 37.5 hours in, because if you had, I did this at wards too, use my noggin. But I'll tell you that story another time. But I've told that before, but anyway, I figured out a way that I could average out 37.5 hours without them really realizing it. And then when I had enough time, I went to personnel and said, I'm full-time now. Consider me full-time. And they looked it all up and they go, you're right. You are full-time. And I says, okay, I'm going to be on a leave of absence at Thanksgiving because I'm going to go get my other knee done. So I had my other knee done 3 days before Thanksgiving, and I didn't go back until after the first of the year because I was getting paid. So I stayed the whole time. But quick little story. Who am I kidding? I never tell a quick little story, but I'll tell you a story. Is just before I had my knee done, I couldn't walk. I only walked on a cane. I could get anywhere without a cane, and even in my house I had to have a cane. And I just felt like such an old person. I was only 57 and I was on a cane completely. And we got a new manager. So I was 57 and our new manager was 28 years old. And I was in charge of the mailroom, and there was so many people, and he was going to compartmentalize. He was going to make the department run more efficiently. So he was going to lay off, I think he was going to lay off 7 people. Because at the time, not that they were all in the mailroom, but it was the mail that they had to open. I was part of that part too. And there was like 15 of us, I think. There was a lot because we were taking on a lot of business. And he was going to lay 7 of them off to make a better financial move. And I told him, I said, that's not a good move. You don't want to lay these 7 people off, especially this time. This is the busiest time of year. It doesn't seem like it, but this is going to be the busiest time of year because everybody wants to get all of their stuff in before the end of the year so they can claim it on their taxes. They're going to pay all of their past due bills. You're going to get swamped. You do not want to lay these 7 people off. And he looked at the old woman on the cane, and he said, yeah, okay, I'll listen to you. Yeah, all right. And the week after I left, he laid off 7 people. And was swamped, and was so bad that when I did come back, which I only came back after 4 weeks, so I mean it was a good thing for him that I came back because I kind of got it a little more, not to brag, but I did get a little more organized. And so I said, you can't do that. I told you that it was going to happen. He says, I should have listened to you. I should have listened. So when I had my other knee done, he says, you have any advice? I said, no, you're doing pretty good. You should have listened to me last year, but you didn't. But so, and like at Montgomery Wards, you had to work at least 32 hours to be considered full-time. And they always scheduled me for 30. But then I found out that if you punched in, like you had a 6-minute leeway, either 6 minutes before or 6 minutes after. So I used to punch in 7 minutes before and 7 minutes after. So then that way I picked up each day, I picked up an extra 15 minutes. And it doesn't seem like a lot, but, you work 5 days, that's an hour, right? A little over an hour, that's 75 minutes. And you had to do it for 6 weeks, and so some weeks I stayed a little longer than 7 minutes after. And I kept a little notebook, and I kept track, and then when I had enough time, I went into personnel, and I said, you know what, I want to be made full-time. And guess what? I was made full-time. And I worked my way up the ranks because I started off in as Christmas help, and I ended up as the manager of the women's department. So there is places for people if they really want to work. You got to work hard. You got to know who to kiss butt with, and you just gotta put your best effort forward. It's out. They're out there. The jobs are out there. You just got to look for them. I'm done looking. I'm retired. So okay, I'm gonna go get my pajamas on now that I babbled on for what, 7 minutes. Get me started. You can't shut me up. I will see you guys in the morning, and another good day tomorrow because Saturday I get weighed. I'm trying to keep my gain to less than a pound. So a pound or less I'm going to consider it a complete victory. If I gain more than a pound, I'm going to feel bad. But I'm going to get right back on that horse. Oh, you don't want to see me on a horse.